Downtown, I got that heat, let's go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit.
2 new CEOs. Not one, but 2.
Woo,
Not one, but 2. We better get Stank replaced next.
Woo, boy.
Of the big 3.
We're gonna hear some crying tonight. We're gonna hear some excuses tonight. We're gonna hear some BS tonight. Okay. We're gonna hear some very big excuses.
We're gonna hear a soliloquy.
Well, I don't know about a soliloquy, but
I hope not.
I'm already suspecting we got some excuses.
Will you at least admit that you were early on the iPhone debacles, Moose?
Which debacle, dog? Which debacle?
I mean,
Does the iPhone Air have millimeter wave?
It doesn't.
It does not.
Okay,
it does not. Guess what?
Moose,
Guess what?
Moose,
the C1 modem or C1X modem does not have millimeter wave, ladies and gentlemen.
Moose. The iPhone Air is too thin to fit it in, but
no, it's not.
Yes,
absolutely
it is.
not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Moose,
that's not the reason.
Moose, what happens when the C2 comes with millimeter wave next year?
The C2 will come with millimeter wave. It's not an issue on space. Let me be that clear. But the C1, it was not ready for millimeter wave.
Okay, but the base model has millimeter wave, and you were calling like it wouldn't. You were saying the Pros would get rid of it, but the base version and the Pros kept it. The only one that doesn't have it is the Air.
Come on, guys. We know Moose doesn't like to admit when he's wrong. Come on. What are we talking about tonight? What are we talking about tonight? What's the show?
If the iPhone had the C1 modem or the C1X modem, whichever version of the C1 generation, okay, it would not have come with millimeter wave, period. Would have not.
Okay.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
All right, let's get the show on the road.
All right, exactly. Come on, let's go.
All righty, so here's the thing. Here's the deal. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't wait for this because we're going to be hearing excuses. We're going to be hearing bullshit. We're going to be hearing all this stuff. But guess what? The fact of the matter is,
so giddy, bro.
The fact of the matter is, this guy needed to go yesterday. He needed to leave 2 months ago. He needed to leave 2 years ago. Go ahead, Sneed. I'm excited for this one.
What do you want to do? The T-Mobile piece first or the Verizon piece?
The T-Mobile piece can wait. The more critical is the Verizon piece.
Before that though, Moose, Stank needs to go.
He's not gonna go, dog. He's not gonna go. That's not even a discussion point right now. We need to discuss. We really do need to discuss the Verizon piece. This is critical.
Of all 3 telcos, Stank's the one that needs to go. Don't even try to.
Out of all 3 telcos, AT&T has been winning every single thing they've been winning. But yet we have to talk about Verizon. Let's go. Come on.
Let's carry on.
All right. Verizon appoints a new CEO for the next phase after its 5G rollout. For what it's worth, I do think that Hans was there for a phase. I think he was there for the network phase, for the 5G phase, for the network investment phase. Now, I believe the direction is pretty clear. They're looking at a new era where the network is built in 5G. I mean, there's still some things that have to be finished, but for a bulk majority of the pops in the US. And when you think about the wireline transaction they have with Frontier, right, and you think about the Fios business, and you just look at the scale of the assets and the investment into fiber and the One Fiber program, I mean, largely those things were Hans, which was some of it was carryover from Lowell. So those network phases, the 4G LTE, the 5G, I think they clearly picked a CEO who they believe is the guy for the next phase. Now, the only concern I have, and this is only because I don't have internal knowledge on exactly how this played out. To me, it seemed abrupt. But if indeed this was thoughtful, if indeed this was considerate, and Hans had a hand in picking his successor, well, then it seems more orderly and it seems like it's more successive. But to an outsider, there is a smell to it. It seems abrupt. It feels abrupt. And on the heels of a Q3 and the Q3 getting pushed back slightly, I mean, it does lead to some questions. So we can talk about where Verizon has been. We could talk about where they are. We could talk about where they're going. We could talk about Hans' legacy. We could talk about this guy, Dan Schulman, and see kind of what his track record is and what he could do for the company. And we can kind of project and predict what we think Verizon will be in the future. Moose, we'll bring you in on this one.
Okay. I have a feeling that this was definitely a quick decision by the board of directors. Couple of facts and stats. Number one, the iPhone was available on all models on launch day of the iPhone. It was available 1 week after the iPhone pre-order day, the launch of the pre-order. It was even available on launch day for next day shipping. That's one fact, okay? That the ship times were extremely favorable to Verizon's inventory because nobody wants to buy the phone and be on the most expensive plan. That's a fact. Number two, the earnings call was October 21st originally. Now it's 8 days later. That is very big. That's a huge deal. Why? Because the new CEO needs time to gather his bearings and needs to understand the state of the business. That's the critical one, because the state of the business is not good for Verizon. If it was good, Hans would have stayed at minimum for this next earnings call. At minimum. So we knew Hans was not going to have another year left. We knew that. That was a foregone conclusion. We just didn't know when it was going to happen. Now that we know that it happened extremely quickly, I have a feeling that this thing happened no later than within the last 5 days. This was announced from the board of directors to Hans saying, hey, I'm sorry, it's time to depart. There's no way around it. And the reason why I say that also is because I thought it was going to be the CFO. I thought that it was going to be the CFO.
I thought so too. I thought it was either going to be Skatis or Sampath, but they went with a board member.
Right.
A board member who has been on the board since 2018. A board member who has previous stops at AT&T, Virgin Mobile, Sprint Nextel, PayPal CEO as recently as 2023. I think he stepped down from that position. I don't know what his track record is relative to his CEO position, but he has experiences, Moose. and on the board at Verizon since 2018. What say you?
By the way, there's a quote in the Fierce Network article from Roger Edner. The company has been struggling. Quote from Roger. If that's not enough to tell you how bad the state of the business was in the third quarter, I don't know what else there is.
Well, let's properly frame this. Business, they've always been good. FWA has been the shining star. Wireline, they do just fine, right? Their Fios business could grow more, but it's not positive. Prepaid has finally caught traction. The consumer postpaid phone net adds have been an ongoing struggle for years, especially when you look at the front half of the year, right? And then when you look at the totality, while the industry has grown, Verizon really hasn't to the tune of the industry. They haven't paced the rest of the industry.
I mean, look at their newest marketing campaign. They're literally telling you, bring us your bill from your other carrier and we'll beat it.
I mean, isn't that the reason why everybody has their biggest complaint about Verizon? Because they think they're super expensive?
No, for sure.
So
But
it makes sense.
No, for sure. I think it's a good thing that they're doing it. I'm just saying it does come off as a little bit desperate on their end.
I mean, they should be desperate based on what everybody has said the last 15 minutes, right? Well, I'm sorry, the last 11 minutes and 33 seconds.
On that. If
the last 15 minutes, we've been saying this for the past 3 years that they're too expensive.
I'm adding to their point. I think this was abrupt because look at Verizon's stock price post this announcement. Like, I felt compelled to buy $50 of Verizon stock after seeing the dip.
Probably should.
How about this, did you look at the T-Mobile stock after they announced that that Gopalin was taken over for Mike Sievert?
Let's check it.
It dipped. I think it
but
dipped.
Now the reason why all the telecom stocks dipped today was not because of the announcement of the new CEO. It dipped
that's what
because
I'm saying.
of the downgrade, right? Because of the significant increase in the promotional activity, right?
Exactly. So everybody's giving away everything for free. That's not good for business, not from a shareholder standpoint.
No, look, but man, you know what is really bad?
What has changed in the last 72 hours in the core business of Verizon?
Nothing.
The board. Okay, so I'll give you that, Moose. So that's true. Max, same thing. I agree. So the board is the one, according to Roger Edner, who came on this show. He's the one that said the CEOs work at the behest of the board. The board is the one that says Verizon is going to set the strategy. The goal is going to be what? Going to win in free cash flow, wireless service revenue, and EBITDA. Are we thinking that's not going to happen in the third quarter? Because everybody else seems to be focused on something other than what the board said. Like, everybody's talking about lines and get phones. All right, the board, like, that's not what Hans or the board have ever said Verizon was really trying to win in. So maybe, I mean, Roger said it. I mean, all the companies have different goals. AT&T wants to grow. They're not really concerned about money. That's why they're giving away the house. Same thing, for the last few years with T-Mobile. Now they're starting to change. Now customers are leaving them because now they're starting to try to make money. I mean, I don't know what this is all about. Like, why is this such a big deal where we think that there's something wrong at the company?
Let me explain one thing that you said wrong.
Hold on one second, Moose. Moose, I need you to open your mind to this possibility. What if this was just a really well-kept secret and Hans picked this guy?
No.
And this was the successive plan?
No.
Not 0% chance of that, really?
I will tell you why. If you're the chairman of the board of directors, not the CEO, but if you're the chairman of the board of directors, you get to decide who is on the board of directors. Remember, it's all politics.
He's the chairman.
It's all
Hans
politics.
Is the chairman.
Hans is the chairman.
So check this out. It's all politics at the level of the board of directors. So you get to pick who are your other directors in that board of directors. If the board of directors,
so is this guy.
If the board of directors voted against keeping Hans and he's the chairman,
but that's what I'm saying, Moose. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it was voted to remove Hans. I think Hans selected his successor as a possibility.
No, that wouldn't make any sense because
would
there's no data to substantiate what you're saying. I mean, you're guessing, which is fine. I mean, you're a human being, you're allowed to do that. But there's no data that substantiates anything that you just said.
Didn't he also say that the CFO was in line to be the next CEO?
No, that was another guess.
That was us.
That was a guess that came out from the media months ago. So this should not be like some new, oh my gosh, it's a surprise. Man, this was talked about months ago. The Hans was probably going to be on his way out. And it wasn't by force. The board kept the man for 8 years. If the sky was falling and he wasn't delivering to them what they wanted, why would they keep him for 8 years, Moose? That doesn't even make sense, man. Look, this is corporate America. If you're genuinely not performing, why would they keep you for 8 years? You think the stock market and the board represents the shareholders? You think they're nice? They're not that nice. Come on, man.
I'm not 100% agreeing with Moose. I'm not 100% agreeing with D. But what I will say is sometimes you can fool the shareholders.
You're not wrong. That's true. I mean, they're humans.
Everything at T-Mobile's a record, something record this, record that.
So in the Fierce Wireless article, I'm going to quote it verbatim because this is a big deal. Just days after the end of the third quarter, Verizon's board of directors decided they had enough and ousted Hans as CEO. You don't think
that's not what was reported?
That was in the article. It's not that it wasn't reported. I'm reading the article right here. I'm reading the article.
So, Moose, do you think it's characterizing the situation properly by saying he was ousted?
No, it's not. It's somebody writing a bunch of hyperbole. That's what happened.
I believe he was ousted. True reporting. It doesn't make any sense.
So you believe he was ousted?
You can believe whatever you want, but that's not what was reported. That's not what the company said.
If it was planned, listen to me on this. If it was planned, the earnings call would not have been magically changed by 8 days.
So you would send a new hire out to represent your entire company without giving extra time. If you were to do that,
if it was planned, they would have at least put it to November for the earnings, not in October. That's what I'm saying. But you're not listening.
So 8 days isn't enough. So you're saying they should have done more than 8 days.
If it was planned,
the problem isn't that they pushed it back. You're saying they should have pushed it back more.
If it was planned, they would have selected an alternative date to give this guy more time to understand the business.
That is okay. That's your right to take that stance. If the original date was the 21st and they pushed it back 8 days, that means it's the 29th. That's like 2 or 3 days from November. What are we talking about? This is splitting hairs. This is a stupid narrative. I don't understand what we're talking about right now. 3 days. So you're saying 3 days is the reason why he got fired instead of just stepping down?
No, see, that's the ridiculous comment. Again, if it was planned, if it was planned, you would have seen a lot of different headlines. In the third quarter, you could have seen, oh, we have selected to have a transition plan and blah, blah. But the guy stepped down immediately. Anytime somebody steps down immediately, you're fired. Come on.
I mean, he's not wrong. T-Mobile's new CEO isn't going to be there until November 1st.
I mean, we caught wind of that a long time ago, the T-Mobile piece, so we weren't surprised by that. This one also kind of it was a little bit more discreet, but
is the T-Mobile guy new to the company? Has he been there for a while?
Yeah. He is.
Okay.
Because he's new within a year.
The new CEO has been on the board since 2018. He's not new.
He was not the chief operating officer.
There is no.
It doesn't matter. He was on the board of directors. He was
just because you're on the board of directors does not mean you know everything about the company. Just what they tell you about.
That's why he needed 8 days to prepare for the next earnings review.
8 days. 8 days is not any time at all to know everything that's going on in the company. Guaranteed.
Then we have reason to believe this was normal succession. Then,
I mean, it makes sense. I don't understand what we're talking about right now.
I don't know, Moose, exactly what it is, right? I don't know. And you know, we're sitting here kind of speculating on what it could be or what it should be or what it may have been. But if I'm looking at the timeline, if they only give him 8 days, then that means he's probably pretty prepared. They're just ironing out small details.
He's been on the board since 2018. He's been helping to drive the boat. Since 2018.
He was prepared, then he would have kept the October 21st date, because that means that he's not going to change anything of the strategy.
Well, Moose, what if they originally had the date for January 1st? What if they originally had the date for December 30th? What if they originally had the date for November? What, like, how much does that matter to you?
The point is, there is something to say when somebody has no succession plan, effective immediately, and you push back the earnings by 8 days. These are the facts.
Man,
I'm telling you, because even T-Mobile, who the guy was from Deutsche Telekom, and he had a succession plan.
A couple of quarters.
Exactly.
Now
Deutsche Telekom is a different company from T-Mobile. This guy was on the board of directors.
It owns T-Mobile.
That's true, but it is a separate entity.
All right, B, hold on. I'm not completely agreeing with Moose that it was decided like yesterday. I don't completely agree with you that it's been planned out for years. What I will say is when they went from Lowell McAdam to Hans, they announced it like 2 months before. So I think it was a little more sudden than usual. Not yesterday, but maybe
Max.
Maybe it might have been like last month. It might have been 2 months ago that they were working on this transition plan, and then they announced it today. It was probably more sudden than your typical CEO change, where you have it a little more planned out. There might have been a little more sense of urgency within Verizon to get a leadership change, but it wasn't yesterday, But when they announced the transition from Lowell McAdam to Hans, it was 2 months in advance.
Can I propose something here for the panel to discuss? Can we talk about changes at the company that could occur? Like, what is Dan Schulman going to do differently? What is going to be his goal? What are going to be his first tasks? What is he going to have to fix or address or be focus areas for him? Like, can we talk about the network potentially? Can we talk about the assets? Can we talk about wireline, Fios, wireless, 5G, 6G? Moose, where do we go with this? What do you think about Dan Schulman moving forward?
Well, this is what his quote is. Verizon is at a critical juncture. We have a clear opportunity to redefine our trajectory by growing our market share across all segments of the market, while delivering meaningful growth in our key financial metrics. That means to me that this man is going to grow the base and not care as much on the top level plans. Because in order for you to grow the key metrics, you have to get more customers in the door and then upsell them later. But don't immediately upsell them. See, because he said all segments. He's not just talking about the ultra premium. He's talking about all segments, which includes the value customers, which includes the mid-range customers. That's why I'm telling you that the first thing that he's going to do, and you can take this to the bank, he is going to change the way that they do the promotional structure. He's going to change the way that they do their rate plans. I have a feeling that they're going to bring back the discounts from your company. That's an immediate win for them. They'll be able to have discounts on the rate plan. They're not going to discount the rate plan from, like going from $95 to $85. What they're going to do instead is allow more company discounts. Number two, what I anticipate that they're going to do is also include bundling discounts. Because right now, they're not as competitive as T-Mobile's bundling discounts.
What are you talking about? They both do $35.
No. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about if you get fixed wireless and you get wireless, you get a discount on wireless and you get a discount on the home internet.
You get that at Verizon and you get that at T-Mobile. It's not different.
They don't do a discount on the wireless. They don't.
Hold on. It's at Verizon. There's a discount on wireless if you have Fios, or you pay full price for wireless and you get discounted fixed wireless. So you pick one or the other.
They're going to have an all-in bundle, one price point that's significantly cheaper. That's how they're going to get more people to get on fixed wireless on Verizon.
You know how Verizon can be more competitive with pricing more than anything else? Because
Yeah.
I know you talk a lot about phone purchases. Sneed, pull up what
Yeah.
I put on the screen share. Because around the time the iPhones were announced, I compared every single deal from the carriers, and I've got this cost breakdown on here. Like you mentioned, where Verizon requires you to get their top plan, otherwise you get a lesser discount. Look at this. This is from cheapest to most expensive for getting 4 lines with new iPhones. AT&T's like blows them all out of the water because they let you get the same phone deals on the cheapest plan as the most expensive plan. And I'm not even suggesting Verizon should do that, but you're looking at that's $120 for 4 lines on a crappy base level plan, and you only get $600 off the phones.
So basically, give away the house. That's how they're growing, because they give away the house. So I guess
hold on, they're not giving away the house. Look at this. Look at the chart you see on your screen. AT&T's giving away the house. T-Mobile's giving away the house. But look how far down Verizon is.
I'm not sure I understand. The most expensive one is Experience Beyond. Is that correct?
Yeah,
am I reading this correctly?
The cheapest one is Unlimited Starter SL from AT&T. The next one is pairing a $15 phone plan with an unlocked phone. The third cheapest is T-Mobile Essentials for new customers. So AT&T and T-Mobile, out of the carrier deals, are the cheapest here. And Verizon's like closer to the bottom than they are on the top.
So you're saying that Verizon's strategy should be to lower pricing?
Is that not what we've just been talking about? Is that not their whole marketing campaign now? Bring in your bill and we'll try to beat it?
That's not untrue, and I agree with you. I think your point is valid. But the new CEO said we're going to grow the customer base. That's what they're going to try to do. And we're going to also remain revenue accretive and industry leading as far as revenue is concerned. It is almost impossible in today's day and age to do both. Well, so how are you? So you're going to have to pick and choose. Like you have to pick, right? You're going to have to pick. Go ahead.
What they're going to have to do, first off, I think we're on the same page. That's what the new CEO said he is going to do. So we're looking out into the future. Right now, I'm talking about, I made that like probably almost a month ago. So we're talking about different time periods here. Wireless is eventually just going to become a numbers game. It really will. You got to grow, you got to get the customers, and it might mean you earn a little less profit. That's just where we're at right now.
It's already there. Like I've been saying this. Race to the bottom, guys. Have I not been saying race to the bottom? I've been saying that.
I mean, it's certainly the case for some companies, but we're talking about Verizon here with the consumer postpaid business. I think Verizon needs to join that because I don't think they're really fighting towards the bottom. And I think maybe their new CEO is going to make that happen. He seems like a very consumer facing guy who knows the consumer. I mean, we're talking about the guy who's led PayPal for quite a while.
He was on the board of Verizon since 2018. So Hans has been reporting to him. So Roger Edner, who's supposed to be the industry lead, let me rephrase that. So since Roger is the industry expert, he's the one that came on. He's the one.
All you changed your statement, and all you changed was you got rid of his last name.
So since Roger is the industry analyst expert, he comes on to the show and he told us, he said, hey, look, guys, these CEOs work for the board. The board is the one that sets the pace on what the goals are for the business. And it's the CEO's job to execute. All in agreement. Okay. Yeah. All right. So if the new CEO came from the same board the Hans has been taking his cue from the last 8 years, then I'm help me understand why all of a sudden. I think that's why
I will help you. Pete, let me help you. What was Verizon trying to do between like 2018 and 2022? What was Verizon's main thing they were doing in the wireless space?
Trying to get their hands on some mid-band spectrum, I guess, and then trying to deploy it once they got hands on it.
Right. Good. Very good. It's building a network. They've surpassed that goal now. They've got a network. They've got a very competitive, very strong network in many markets. So now we're very much in that race to the bottom. So now they got to sell it to consumers, which it seems like they've kind of been struggling with. I think they have been.
I don't disagree with you. I think that they are the last ones to raise the white flag and say, okay, we're not going to fight the race to the bottom anymore. We're going to get in the pig slop
Do
and
you
start
think,
giving away stuff.
B, do you
And
think
so,
it's capitulation to give customers good deals on wireless service?
well, I think that we have to define what a good deal is, because if a
That's
good deal is $25 a month, then I mean, yeah, that will be capitulation if Verizon decided to do it. But I'm
if
not
you do it.
sure. Like if you look at what's on the screen right now, $173 for I'm sorry, $175 for was that for 4 phones, Max?
For 4 phones and the cheapest, crappiest plan that is worse than Visible's $35 plan.
It used to cost $90 a month for an unlimited talking text flip phone at Verizon. So you do the
Hold on, B.
so
B,
you
hold on,
can I
B.
please can I just
have
finish
to,
what I was before you cut me off? Can I at least finish what I was saying?
Sure, I want to
You got
respond to that after you go. Okay.
you guys do the math. The pricing has come down at all of the companies, including Verizon, and you're
Sure.
getting way more than you did at that time. We're not talking
Sure.
about 30 years ago. We're talking
Sure.
about back in like 2011. It's not that
Yeah.
long ago. So
Sure. All right.
I don't know, man. What's $90 times 4? It's not $175. And those are smartphone prices that I'm looking. That's for the 17 Pro. If I'm not mistaken, this includes the pricing of the phones, right? How is that not a good deal? How are all of these prices not very good deals?
Well, sure, and B, you anything can be a good deal compared to a $90 flip phone. I'm saying you've got a better option towards the top of the screen. And also, to respond to your $90 flip phone thing, do you remember the Macintosh portable computer from 1989?
Mhm.
Okay, I don't, but I know it exists from history. So, adjusted for inflation today, I think that thing is like $7,000 or $8,000, and it was basically a huge beige, thick, heavy box that had a little tiny like 2-inch CRT screen and like 10 minutes of battery life, and it was $8,000. That was one of the first like portable computers. Now you can get a super fast, super powerful, like thin MacBook Air for $800. Sometimes things get better and cheaper as things progress. And that's what's
Agreed.
happening in wireless.
Agreed. But we're not talking about here, take this computer and have a good night. We're talking about service and the cost of a device, which isn't
Right.
going, which isn't getting cheaper. The iPhones get more expensive every year, not less. And the mobile networks get large, and the mobile networks get larger every year, not smaller. So you have the cost of network maintenance and additions that you have to make to the network that go up every year. And you have the cost of the phone itself, which goes up every year. Yet the cost of the actual mobile service is supposed to go down. Like, where does that math? How is that a sustainable business model?
Well,
If everybody else's prices are going up from a phone standpoint, and you have to like grow the network in order to keep up with the pace of consumption, how is that a sustainable business model when your pricing on your monthly plan is going down? Like something's got to give. And that's why I said before, hey man, listen, maybe the pace of 6G, for example, slows down. Maybe the pace of innovation slows down because the customer is telling the industry without telling them that they don't want any more innovation. They want innovation to slow because they don't want to pay more. Because
I
we
don't
don't
think
want to pay
that
more.
6G is actually going to happen in the United States until probably 2035.
All right.
Because if you think this is a good transition, this is a good transition to the T-Mobile story too.
I gotta respond to what B just said though, because the way they're able to maintain their network is the fact that we pay them a monthly fee in the first place instead of just paying once and having it for life.
But if the monthly fee is going down, but the size of the network is going up, that's not a sustainable business model. Like you're gonna grow and consume the telco industry into bankruptcy.
Right.
Like that's so there's got to be a middle ground. Like there's got to be a happy medium.
I think the problem is like things changed for Verizon. Like 2016, T-Mobile got low band. 2017, AT&T got FirstNet. Verizon's entire world flipped upside down when two networks were able to better compete against them. It changed everything. Like Verizon in 2020, 21, 22 could no longer say, we're the only network worth paying for. They couldn't do that. There was a time where that was true, and it just didn't exist anymore. It changed their entire world. It's like somebody woke up every morning, did the same thing for 20 years, and everything was perfect. They woke up one morning, and all of a sudden, everything was different. The world changed on Verizon after 2017, 2016. It was happening slowly, but by 2021, 22, it was tangible. AT&T with FirstNet with Band 14, and then T-Mobile with the Sprint merger and low band with the 2016 purchase of the 600. The world changed.
And so what I hear you saying is that it doesn't sound like Verizon did anything wrong. It just sounds like the other two companies began to compete on a grander scale.
I'd say so, yes. Yeah.
And that's great for the industry as a whole from the standpoint of a consumer. No issues with that at all. The networks have all improved. Verizon's network has improved. Everybody else's network has improved. And that's great. The delta between networks is smaller than it ever has been. That's a good thing.
I would say,
to me, I don't hear. Go ahead.
I would say that since 2020, Verizon has the most improved network.
I agree.
I would say like leaps and bounds. I mean, unrecognizable.
So with that being said, back to my original question, I'm waiting to hear what the smoking gun is. Like, what's the problem at the company that makes us all think that the sky is falling? Where's the data? The only metric that people continue to tout as saying something indicates that the house is on fire.
My God,
is mobile net ads. That's it. Like phone net ads. They're growing in broadband. They're growing in EBITDA. They're growing in wireless service revenue. They're growing in free cash flow. Like where is the company going out of business?
There's a limit to exhausting your smaller and smaller base. Look at this from Roger Etner, quote in the Fierce Wireless article. Verizon made its financial numbers by extracting more money from fewer and fewer customers, which is not a long-term winning strategy. End quote.
Is anything that any of the companies doing a long-term winning strategy? If you give away the house, if you give a free phone to every customer, regardless of what they're paying, is that a winning long-term strategy? No.
It is for AT&T. It is for AT&T. They're leading in churn.
But that's not by how much? Last quarter it was 0.87 to 0.9. It's almost tied, guys. Where is the sky falling? Somebody please tell me.
The new iPhones weren't out last quarter.
They're out. So they're out now, and we'll continue to watch. But all we can go on is what's been publicly released among all three companies. And the latest data that we have available, it's a damn near tie.
That's a fair point.
Yeah. AT&T's churn went up. It didn't go down.
Okay.
And in the first quarter, it was T-Mobile who had the industry worst churn. So where is the skyfall? Guys, we got to stop making up narratives. I mean, that's what the data says. Since we want to talk about facts, it's almost tied. Go ahead, Sneed.
Can I get to the super chats? I don't want to neglect everybody that supports us directly. So first of all, shout out to Green. Appreciate the super chat. What's the panel's thoughts on the future of millimeter wave? So I still think it's going to be an important leverage piece in those situations. I still think it's imperative in the stadiums, the arenas, the sporting events, the concert venues, and I think where they can target the 5G home broadband, where they have the multi-dwelling unit solutions and, you know, where they have the density that allows them to monetize it, it still makes sense to me, and I still think they'll leverage it. I think they know more about millimeter wave today than they ever have, so I think they'll be a little bit more strategic, but I do think there's a place for it, and I don't see why that would change. And then to kind of follow up with the other super chat, this one from EM Tech, thank you. Said, Max, you gave a fundamental misunderstanding of how the industry operates. The cost to operate continues to grow as these networks get bigger.
All right, going forward, hold on, because I got to respond to this because it's got my name on it.
Go ahead.
So when we're talking about going forward with Verizon's new CEO, I mean, how much of their 5G network build is done right now? That's we were just talking about. That's what Hans was really working on, building the network. Now they're kind of transitioning to finding new ways to market it to people. And I completely understand EM's perspective on it, and I absolutely agree that networks cost money to maintain. And again, as I said, that's why we pay these companies a monthly fee in the first place.
But
And
the
I'm not
monthly
saying
fee can't keep
I'm
going
not,
down, Max. The
and
network
I'm,
is getting
and
the
I'm
network is getting bigger. They're not getting smaller.
for sure. I'm not even saying it should go down to $1. I'm not saying it should go down to 15 or 25. There's options at those prices. I'm not even saying it should go astronomically low. Talking about Verizon specifically, which is what we've been doing since this show started, they are falling a little bit behind in what they are offering to the customer compared to the other two.
I disagree.
Plans and phones included. All right, that's fine. You can. And it some of it is subjective as far as what the customer wants, but a lot of it is objective, looking at costs with required plans or comparable plans as far as access and perks, and what the bundle prices with those plans and the phones.
These companies' price plans are within like $20 of each other.
And
these companies' networks are closer than they ever have been. We all just admitted that. I think the only thing Verizon needs to continue to work on, to Max's point, you got a marketing problem. You got a brand issue. People think you're more expensive than you are. You need to address that.
Yeah, true.
Like you need to address that because people think you're still the most expensive. Max himself just shared information that tells us T-Mobile is actually the most expensive right now.
Hold on. Characterize it properly. Verizon has a compelling offer in the middle of the industry, and then their others are a little bit lower in the industry.
That's not what the data just said.
Plan, and they also have a very cheap plan.
That's not what the data just said. The data, all I said was that the most expensive thing that was shared up there was a plan from T-Mobile, not from Verizon.
The cheapest.
But the
Can I explain why? Can I explain why?
Guys, all I'm saying is the customer doesn't know that. The customer seems to still think that Verizon is the most expensive. That's not necessarily the case anymore. But the customer doesn't know that. So it's Verizon's job to go to the market and tell them that and be consistent in that message. That's all I'm saying, guys. I'm not trying to debate reasoning or anything like that. All I'm saying is I stated a few things. Number one, the networks are closer than they ever have been from a performance standpoint. Number two, the pricing is closer than it ever has been from a pricing standpoint. But the customer doesn't know that, which is my third point. If I'm Verizon, I'm doing the best I can to let the customer know. Make sure that they know everything I just said. You can tell the customer, hey, we're still industry leading in the network, because honestly, that's still true. But the delta is not as big as it used to be. And so the pricing is not as big as it used to be as far as the delta between the companies. And it's not. Max literally just shared that.
Hold on, because I need to respond to that, because you said my thing that I just shared says T-Mobile's the most expensive. I need to point out a very important detail that I neglected to mention when I first shared that. You'll notice I fit as much on the screen as I possibly could have. I didn't sit there and type in every single carrier deal ever. If I had put Verizon Unlimited Ultimate on the screen there, because you probably saw I only put Unlimited Welcome and Plus. If I had put Ultimate on there, it would have been more expensive than T-Mobile Experience Beyond by like an extra $50 for those.
And all you have to do to combat that is put some discount that the company's offering, whatever the case may be. If you get a Verizon credit card, you can knock that $50 right off. It's the same thing. AT&T's got a credit card too. Listen, man, they all have ways to knock down the advertised price. All of them do. There are varying different ways to do it, but you can do it. But the customer needs to know there's an option to do that. It's the company's job to go to market and tell the company or tell the customer that directly and do it consistently, and then follow through when the customer comes in to inquire about that offer. It's really that simple. That's all you got to do. So then if that's the case, what are we talking about? Again, because all of these companies are priced almost exactly. It's like a $20 difference.
Okay, but you were just talking about, all right, well, it's $50 more, but you can knock it down with discounts. You can knock down AT&T and T-Mobile with discounts also. So
I just said that. I said AT&T has a credit card too. Yeah, you can. I agree.
Okay,
but what are you going to get with those pricings? Everybody else is pretty much especially with AT&T, for example, all you got is here's your network access. We're not giving you anything else. Verizon, you have an opportunity to get perks. T-Mobile, to a lesser extent, you have the ability to get perks as well. You set your own value proposition.
What
So
T-Mobile gives you
there's value there.
T-Mobile gives you perks for free. Verizon makes you pay extra for them.
That's the thing. That's what Verizon said their customers wanted. They wanted choice. They didn't want to have a bunch of stuff thrown into their price plan.
Sure.
T-Mobile has taken a different stance. Remember, I talked about the 5G Get More plan back in 2022, the plan that most of you guys said was horrible.
I never said that.
That plan was jam-packed with a bunch of stuff that the customer, according to Verizon said their customers didn't want all that stuff built into the plans. So now they have the option of either getting that stuff and paying something extra for it, even though it's discounted, or you cannot and just go with whatever network access that is that you want. That's what the customer asked for, according to Verizon, and they got it.
Sure.
And I mean, based on the numbers, the churn numbers would suggest that since churn has come down at Verizon, that the customers do seem to be happy with what it is that they get.
Okay. Sneed, put up that comment from the network nerd.
All right,
they could
real quick. Just let me get to the other super chats and then I'll get there. All right.
Yep,
so
absolutely.
shout out to Kamikaze Kid. Thank you. He said, I agree with you, Sneed. See, Kamikaze, this is why you're the man, bro. Because you agree with Sneed. You know what time it is. Always agree with the host. Always. Lesson number one. All right.
Ravioli gang.
Verizon can no longer say the network is better than the other two carriers. It's just not the case anymore. It on a national perspective, it's right there. It's them. It's AT&T. On the metro level, Verizon dominates. I mean, they are, in my opinion, according to the data, they're still in the conversation of having the biggest network, best network, right? They still dominate in so many different key metrics. So, but the other two are there. They're in that conversation too. They're not light years away, right? They're up against it. So, yeah, I'm with you, Kamikaze. I get it. And then the other super chat, this one just came in from David. Thank you. He said, I'm paying $132 for 4 lines. 2 of the 4 are top tier plans. He has the Apple one with Verizon as a new subscription. He got a good deal to switch.
How about that, David? You got some discounts.
And David's got a good deal. David has a good deal.
Giancarlo says, "Be you lying, bruh."
I know. Put up the network nerd comment above that. This is what I was about to say.
Shit.
Hold on, B. So you said Verizon said that their customers wanted choice. What if they get to choose one perk for free instead of making them pay extra for the perk? And then if you want more perks,
I don't know, man. I don't know, Max. I mean, ask the new CEO. I'm not the CEO, but all I'm telling you is what Sampath publicly said to everybody was that they did like customer focus groups, and the customers are the ones who said they didn't want a whole bunch of stuff jam-packed into the plan. They would prefer to pick and choose whatever it is that they want. And that's what they have now. Now, all of a sudden, this particular one person, with all due respect to him, is saying the exact opposite. So it's like it's hard to please everybody at the same time, but it makes sense. If you're going to get a perk, at least those perks are discounted. You can't
got a legacy plan.
You can't say again.
He got a legacy plan. He didn't get one of the current generation ones. He said it included Apple One.
Well, I mean, one of the legacy plans was the 5G Get More that you guys spent tons of podcasts telling me was horrible.
That wasn't me.
When that plan was around,
that never happened. Why do you?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did, Steve. Yes, yes, it did. We can agree to disagree, but I'm telling you,
here on this platform ever said the 5G Get More was a horrible plan. Some people didn't like the price, but I think some people didn't understand the value.
They didn't understand the value.
We never promoted 5G Get More as a bad plan. We never.
I'm not saying you did. I'm saying that there were people who were on this podcast who were talking like the plan was not great.
Okay, B, but that's not the people you're talking to right now. That's not the people you're talking to right now. Go back to
my video. I didn't say Max. I just said people on this show. That's it. I didn't say Max.
But without you saying who, everybody thinks you're talking about them.
So when you want specifics?
No, I just want you to tell me who it was so we know, because I didn't do it. Max didn't do it.
When's the last time you purchased a phone, Sneed? Do you remember?
Okay.
When's the last time you purchased a phone, Sneed? Do you remember who sold it to you? Need I say more? Do I need to say anything else?
Hold on.
All right. I answered the question, Steve. I answered the question.
Hold up.
Go ahead,
I
Moose.
think
Go
it's
ahead.
I've been waiting
Well,
literally like
Moose,
10,
can I-
15
Okay,
minutes.
Moose, please let me get to the super chat and then it's yours. Verizon needs to address the welcome plan. It's horrendous compared to the entry level options at the competition. Appreciate it, EM Tech. You have officially sponsored this episode of the SMT YouTube channel. Thank you. Go ahead, Moose.
All righty. So today we had a second news article related to T-Mobile. So we're doing a drastic pivot. Cha-cha, we're doing a drastic pivot because I wanted to talk about this as well.
What happened to Mac?
I have no idea. Probably
My bad. My bad.
All right, so the article, and B, did you see the article, or Sneed, you should put the article on the screen because this is a big deal.
Which one, the Fierce?
No, the T-Mobile report.
About
Or
what?
whatever, Fierce, whoever has the article, it doesn't
What's it
matter.
about?
But T-Mobile is phasing out all LTE except band 12 5x5 nationwide. That's a big deal, guys. We are in the middle of supposedly the decade of 5G, right? And they're already phasing out LTE.
Okay, Moose. So you want to do this T-Mobile piece? We got to wrap up the Verizon one. I'm going to bring in somebody who wanted to chime in.
Okay.
It's just, sometimes I like to get the community involved, so I'll throw the link out. Edvin has been on the show before. Edvin, appreciate you, man. Go ahead and give us your thoughts and opinions. I think on the Verizon piece. Go ahead.
Hey, Edvin, what's up, man?
What's up, Sneed? What's up? What's up, guys?
Hey,
What's up,
Good
B?
to have you, man.
I got in a little late. What was the question? I know we're talking about Verizon, but what especially are we talking about?
We were talking about kind of where Verizon is in terms of competition to the industry. We were talking about plans. We were talking about pricing. Churn came up. New CEO, obviously. Just a lot of things relative to the company.
Gotcha. Okay. So I feel like Verizon's kind of their go-to-market has been, we are the best carrier and we're the most expensive and we don't care. Their most recent advertisement is like, hey, bring us your bills and we'll give you a lower price, which is almost kind of reminds me of what T-Mobile used to do back in the day. So it's almost a complete 180 with how they used to go to market. And if they really did feel like they were the best carrier compared to AT&T and T-Mobile, I really don't think they'd be running those kinds of promotions. They're bleeding customers for a reason, and it's not because people think they're the most expensive.
They're not bleeding customers, though, man. With all due respect, like again, the churn numbers are almost in line with each other. AT&T was .87.
Don't they have the highest churn numbers? I mean, it might not be a super high
No,
number.
they don't. I mean, they don't, man. With all due respect, I wonder they have that their churn was .9, T-Mobile's was a .9, and AT&T's was .87. That was just last quarter. The quarter before that, T-Mobile had the worst churn in the industry. So it wasn't Verizon. Verizon's churn has come down. Like I think that people have to reassess what's going on with Verizon, with that particular company. I'm not saying that they're.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think that going to market as, hey, we'll be cheaper than your bill at AT&T and T-Mobile is what a premium network would do?
To be honest with you, no. But premium networks aren't winning right now because we've all said that the delta between network performance of the three companies is smaller than it ever has been. So even if Verizon's network is better than everyone else's, if the average customer can't necessarily tell the difference at scale consistently, are they going to be willing to pay that premium price point? So far, the data suggests that the answer to that question is no. So Verizon has to pivot, and they have, to their credit. Now, is the shareholder going to love it? Probably not.
Probably not. Yeah.
But what do? Like at this particular point, at this particular juncture, the industry has to choose. You're either going to choose your pockets or you're going to choose growth, or you're going to try to get a little bit of both. But it's hard to do both consistently at the same time at scale. Like it's hard. You used to be able to do it 15 years ago. It's very hard in today's day and age to do that. So if Verizon didn't pivot, they'd have to continue to endure the same people nitpicking at, hey, they're the only ones not growing in phones. They're the only ones not. That's the only part of their business they're not growing. They're growing in home internet, whether it's Fios or FWA, but nobody cares about that when it comes to Verizon because they're not growing in phones. Although they're still leading the industry in free cash flow, EBITDA, and wireless service revenue, which is what Verizon has maintained under Hans' leadership at least, that was going to be their goal. They've never said anything about growing in phone lines and being the industry leader. Not once have they ever gone to the street and said, that's our goal. They've always talked about financials. And under Hans's leadership, they have met those they've met those goals. Yet and still, we got people talking about stuff that they've never set out and said they wanted to achieve in, at least not be the leader in. So I don't know. I mean, to answer your question, Evan, in my opinion, Verizon had to pivot, and they are. And they should, and they probably won't.
They never
change
used to pivot. I'm shocked when they started to kind of change some of their tactics. I was surprised. It's like trying to turn around the Titanic. I didn't think they were going to do it.
That's true, but isn't that what people have been begging for the last 3 or 4 years? It's happening, and people are still.
Do you think they were late?
Late.
I think they were late, and I think
they were a little late. I think some of that should have happened a couple years ago, or a couple years before they finally decided to plan it. Like I think they were just a little late.
You may be right, and I mean, to be honest with you, I think that there's a solid case that you could make to say that they were late. But again, it's the board. It's the board.
They got the most premium cost plan in the industry, and their momentum is still there, and they still tell people they're the Un-carrier, and they're screwing people left and right, and people are still eating up the wolf tickets.
You're right, but most people don't listen to Sneed's podcast. They don't know. So the perception is, if you go to T-Mobile, you're getting a great deal. That's the perception, and perception, unfortunately, oftentimes is reality. People aren't necessarily educated on what's going on. If Sneed had 50 million people who were following us, it would be one thing. That's not the case. Most people don't have this level of education.
When people go to the T-Mobile store, the T-Mobile reps literally are trained to say, how much are you paying at Verizon? And then all they do is just get them slightly lower, which means they can give them, so if they were on a premium Verizon plan, if it was single line, they were paying $85, $90 with tax and fees, $95. Now T-Mobile's like, well, we'll give it to you for $85. Like they're literally just saying, we'll save you $5 or $10. That's what it is.
For a lesser network experience. But I mean, hey man, it is what it is.
Okay, so fine, which may be true, but those people left Verizon.
Exactly. And so to that point, back to what everyone was saying, Verizon had to pivot. They didn't have any choice. Now we can say they were late. That's fine. Whatever. They were late to the party. All right, that's fine. But what forced them to do that more than anything is the delta in network performance, which is smaller than it ever has been. Doesn't mean Verizon's network has fallen off a cliff. All that stuff. There's no data to support that.
There were other missteps, like the Diego era was trash. The Ronan Dunn era was trash.
That's marketing. You're right.
Marketing era was trash. Like marketing.
You're right, and I don't disagree with you. And that's why those 3 people are no longer with the business. There were missteps that happened as far as personnel was concerned. I agree that all that 100% valid, but none of that really resonates today. What resonates today is what I just said. The delta in network performance is smaller than it ever has been. So you can't have a large delta in pricing if people can't really, really, really feel the difference in their performance.
So B, do you think that Verizon is still the premium network?
Absolutely. I just don't think that premium networks go for what they used to. Like people don't think that they have to pay premium pricing for premium stuff. This is the era of the consumer. The consumer is getting a great deal right now.
Can I pull the panel? B? Can I pull the panel?
Sure.
All right. Each and every single one of us on here. I got Moose, B, Edvin, and Manny. Moose, is there a $100 plan on the market right now? Is there a network worth paying $100 for right now?
$100 a line? Damn.
Yes. Yes or no?
Oh man. Isn't the essentials the top plan from what's it called?
Moose, listen to my question carefully. Is there a network and a plan worth paying $100 for right now in the industry?
Man, that's
I didn't ask you which one. I said, is there one?
Right now, if we're being completely transparent, T-Mobile does have a $100 plan right now.
Man, just answer my question, bro.
But
is there a plan that can command $100 and it's worth it? A network and a plan.
I'll answer, Sneed.
Man, I think with all that value and satellite included, yeah, it's $100.
Okay, B, is there a $100 plan that exists, a network and a plan right now?
Yes.
Edvin, what do you think?
No, I don't think for one person it's worth it for $100. There's so many good options, even like Visible or other NVMNOs that you can go to. I would not pay $100 for any of these networks.
Is there a $100 plan, network or plan?
No, I actually tried Cricket, and if you pay for like $300 annual plan, which is basically $25 a month, you get the same service, the same coverage as AT&T. So, I think, hold on, and I think the MNOs kind of hit themselves in the foot by offering prepaid so low that the service is virtually the same as postpaid. The only difference you get with postpaid is the financing of the device.
See? I've been saying this, man. It's the truth. Race to the bottom. I agree that was a mistake. I don't understand. I mean, that was a misstep that was caused by T-Mobile, and it's hard to go back now. Because now you have trained the customer to feel that that is a good deal. And if they don't get that, they're going to complain and they may churn. Nobody wants to have increased churn right now. So like I said, back to my original statement a few seconds ago, this is the era of the consumer. The consumer is getting a great deal. They're getting access to 4 gigabits seconds, like 4 gigabits per second on the downlink. And they're paying what? What did he say? Man, he said what? $35 a month? Come on, Sneed. So why are there so many complaints in America as it relates to telco? They're getting a great deal. Even if the customer service, quote unquote, is bad, you're paying $35.
I'm of the belief.
And you're getting 4 gigs down.
I'm of the belief. In order to command $100 for a plan, I need $100 in value. So that means I'm getting $100 worth of things. Network, whatever perks, benefits, add-ons, things, whatever value comes to the table, it needs to put $100 into my life. And whether it earns me a discount with my 5G home internet, or it gets me a perk, or it's tax and fees included, it needs to equate to $100 in my world. And I don't think that there's a plan on this planet from any carrier on any network that commands $100 unless it can do that for my life. It needs to give me $100 in value.
And that's why I said what I said. And I think Moose said the same thing. There's really not. So the incentive to innovate in this industry is going down, not up. Like if the telcos are smart, and I'm sure there are, like you have to listen to the voice of the customer. The customer is telling you without telling you, I don't need your innovation. You can slow down on the innovation. You don't have to make your networks any better. They are where they are. This is good enough.
What's happened with the plans in terms of the industry? Do you think the plans have improved?
Honestly, in my opinion, no. The 5G get more.
Why don't you think that?
So we're supposed to get less but pay more?
Well, that's the thing, Sneed. The plans that are out now, at least at Verizon, that's what the customer asked for. But the plans that were out in the previous,
we're not moving backwards, bro. This is some bullshit, bro. Every industry in this world gets to innovate. Every industry in this world gets to make things better. But this one's going to regress because why?
But Sneed, that's not what I said. I didn't say regress. I said maintain. I said the incentive to innovate is gone down because customers aren't willing to pay for that innovation. You just said people don't want to pay.
They pay every month what they're asked to pay.
You're the one. You're the one. I'm not saying they're at fault. I'm just telling you what the issue is. Like, this is the reality of where we are. You did the poll. You polled the panel. You had 2 people who said, I don't want to pay $100 for a plan. And they both cited prepaid and or MVNO as the reason why. I didn't do that panel. I didn't do that poll. You did.
Okay.
And so if the people are the ones who are saying, hey, look, I'm not willing to pay those price points, the telcos are probably listening. And to be honest,
they're not giving $100 because they're not experience. If they want to pay.
Do you guys want to see where we're heading? Just look at Canada. There's like 3 networks. They have been for years offering virtually the same service. They have like the same amount of bucket of data, like 200 gigs at most. And they haven't innovated. They just sell phone services.
I think each of the networks can give you an $80 plan that's legitimately worth it in value. Phone financing, the hotspot for folks, the whatever the perks are from Verizon, AT&T with whatever discount they give you for fiber. Like, I think they can legitimately pull $80.
You're getting
90 is pushing it, and 100 doesn't even make sense. If it was anything else at that much of a discrepancy in value, I would walk away from that sale.
You are getting, and even these price plans today, what customers complained about for years. The hotspots included in most of the plans is doggone near unlimited. You're getting faster downlink and uplink speeds than you ever have in this nation's
I get throttled
history.
all the time.
You're getting free from.
I get network managed.
Even with your throttle performance, even with
I get network managed on Verizon. I get
even with your what? Even with your network management, you're probably still getting a better experience today than you would have 5 to 7 years ago.
But if you're selling me the same thing and you want more money,
but they're not selling you the same thing. You've never had access to gigabit speeds on your cell phone until now. They're not selling you the same thing. You just don't value it because now it's become the norm. And that's your prerogative, and that's okay. You're a human being. I get it. I understand. But that's why the telcos respond by slowing down innovation. I didn't say I'm just a guy. I don't run any of these companies. They're the ones who said we're going to prolong 5G until 2032. Moose just said 2035. It used to be every 10 years.
Starbucks got to make better coffee, and then Toyota got to make better cars.
There's only so many ways to ground coffee beans. There's only so many ways to ground coffee beans, Sneed. At the end of the day, the market gets to decide what they want to pay for coffee bean grounds, regardless of how good it tastes.
Yeah, but then if the crappy job, and then all of a sudden not expect the consumer to respond to that.
But what is a crappy job defined as? Because if it's defined as
the let me interject here real quick, Sneed. I want to use your example that you just provided. Is your Starbucks latte the same price it was 5 years ago?
It's more expensive and it's worse.
Is your car MSRP higher or lower than it was 5 or 10 years ago?
More expensive and it's worse.
Okay. So if the entire economy isn't shitified, why would we expect anything different from the telcos?
Well, that's what I'm saying is why are we acting like we're getting this incredible experience? Like, yeah, the networks are bigger than they've ever been. And yes, I would say they're more resilient, more dependable.
But the technology
at the same time, the plans have not gotten better and the value really has not. But the networks are doing great, but the plans are not. Like, level plans, bro, are trash. The network access for those plans isn't even good.
What more do you want from the telco, Sneed? I just want to.
Yeah, like, I mean, come on, man.
So, Sneed, when you say the plans are worse now than that's a real conversation. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by they're worse now?
People have unlimited access to these networks, Sneed. What do you want the telcos to do? There's only so many PRBs. Like, you only have so many primary resource blocks, dude. This is not Golden Corral. It's not unlimited macaroni and cheese. Like, come on. What are we talking about?
A $10 plan. I'm talking about a plan that's a premium price. That's not really a premium plan.
What are you talking about, though, Sneed? You're getting 4 gigabits down. You're getting unlimited hotspot. You're getting the ability to travel overseas, essentially at no additional cost. You get a free phone, which is what people have complained of. What are you talking about?
That's probably the problem. I think because the phone financing and these carriers are putting up all these ducats for these phones, that in the long run, it's hurting the value of the plans. They got to charge you these exuberant prices on these monthly plans on those premium upgrades.
But $100 can't be considered like an unreasonable price point when the phone is almost $2,000 and you're not paying for it.
That's what I'm saying is that's the problem. I think this whole phone piece, people need to get away from the phone thing.
But that's what the customer asked for.
I know, and I think they're wrong. I think it's hurting them in the long run.
So what does a premium network plan look like to you?
I have no idea anymore. I mean, I don't know what else they could give away.
Oh.
I mean, I'll tell you,
back.
For us, I pay $25 a month to AT&T Business for the unlimited premium with the QCI 6. And that is with a bring your own device discount and whatnot, but I've never paid a price like that for the features I get from this plan.
What's your name?
Man, you're taking AT&T for a ride. I can't believe they would sell you that.
$215 a month for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. For 7 phone lines and 2 watch lines.
Are you kidding me? See, that's what I'm talking about. So how am I wrong?
25.46 for
so Ian, how is what I'm saying wrong?
I don't think there's anything wrong with what you're saying, B. Here, and this is a prime example. You have large accounts that are paying significantly less than they should be because the industry is racing towards the bottom, yet expected to continue to build faster than they've ever built before and provide a better service than they've ever provided before, while their customers are paying less. You don't pay less. You get paid on a fixed rate for your water. You pay on a fixed rate for your power based on how much you use.
Edmund, are you paying what they asked you to pay for, or are you stealing those lines of service?
No, I'm not. Lines of service. They had a promo, so half of our lines brought their own device.
But yet and still
ported in and got a new phone. The lines that just did a bring your own device deal, it was $25 a month for 24 months. So my line's $25.
So they made you the offer, you accepted the offer, and you're paying your bill every month.
Okay, well then what's the complaint for? What's the complaint for?
This is the most premium deal, and it's with AT&T. I have 7 covered with this plan. I've got QCI 6, and I've used it. I've literally been in a stadium. The guy next to me can't use his phone. AT&T, and I mean, there's a difference with QCI 6 than not, and it's $25 a month. It's cheaper than what you can get most MVNOs for. My question is, what does a premium plan look like to you? Because you're saying what's out there right now for worth it. What I mean, are you just want free perks, or like what do you want?
What else do you want?
Let me get to these super chats.
Alrighty, hold up. Before the super chat started, don't forget, I'm still waiting on the T-Mobile thing. We've been on a massive tangent on this situation with Verizon.
We'll do the
Nobody
T-Mobile
cares about T-Mobile thing.
We'll do the T-Mobile
go ahead.
thing.
Go ahead.
David, I switched to Verizon because I was tired of T-Mobile lies. Felt like going to buy a used car. Big John Leisure fan. Now I'm a detractor. And then Kamikaze Kid chimed in with a second one. I have Get More with perks and Elite with HBO Max. So he's got the AT&T legacy plan, and he has the Verizon legacy plan. And then Joel Brown with the super chat. Thank you, Joel. The telco industry is just like the smartphone industry. We don't value what we have. That's why most people don't upgrade. Might be some truth to that. Maybe people kind of devaluing those things. Might be some truth to that. Absolutely.
I literally just said that.
Yeah.
Before we switch topics, I'm just curious, Sneed, like what does a premium plan look like to you?
I just look at premium pricing. It's not really, it's the value is what you get and the price is what you pay. So if you're paying premium and you're not really getting premium, then there's a disconnect between those two things. I believe that the best transaction is when a customer gets what they're paying for and they feel good about it. And then the company is happy because they're collecting that bill every month. That's a good.
What does that look like for you? Because
what does that look like?
The market,
okay, so let's
fill you in
for single line payers, and the best it's ever been for multi-line payers.
Okay, so if I'm a single line and I'm paying $80 a month, and I have my smartphone service, I have the hotspot I need for my tablet or my laptop, I have whatever, some kind of a premium perk, like let's say it's YouTube Premium, let's say it's Netflix, something that brings entertainment value to me, right? That's a benefit on top of my service. Like now we're getting to the realm of premium. If I get, if device trade-ins are important to me, they'll give me $1,000 for my old phone and get me into a new one, every few years. Like now we're talking about premium because it's checking a lot of boxes. That's all tied up as value. Value is not paying cheap prices. Right. Cheap prices are cheap prices. Value is what you get. So if you're only getting network access, then the only way you tie value to that is paying cheap prices.
Sneed, let me add to your point because I think I largely agree with what you're saying. Value is the ratio of what you pay to what you get. because there could be a good $25 plan that's a good value for what you pay, or you could have a $25 plan that includes nothing and it's a bad value. So it's what you get compared to what you pay.
So the consumer is winning right now, which is what I hear all of you guys saying right now. Everybody collectively, the consumer is winning, right now, which is good.
Okay.
Which is good.
Where's the T-Mobile? Come on.
All right, hold on.
They literally an hour and 15.
we're
Chacha
beating
doesn't
a
have
dead
all
horse.
night. He needs to go to bed soon for the work tomorrow.
Hold on, let me respond to B before we move on to T-Mobile in 10 seconds. Consumers are winning when they're choosing the right options. When they're not choosing the right options, they're not winning.
But the consumer decides what the right option is.
But
like the
sometimes
consumer decides.
Sometimes they don't know. All right, anyway,
that's true. That's true, but that's on the consumer to educate themselves. Like the consumer makes that choice. Go ahead, Sneed.
For sure.
All right, cool. Good stuff. All right, T-Mobile customers, 4G only devices, they're moving spectrum over to the 5G side. Literally going to move as much spectrum as possible. You're likely going to just see 5 megahertz of LTE remaining on that side of the network, probably for smartwatches, probably for legacy tablets, probably, I don't know, some SLA stuff with business. I just can't see any other way. All that spectrum that still remains, that would be a little bit of PCS, a little bit of AWS. We've already seen some of that stuff move over to NR. N71's basically all 5G. N41's been all 5G. N25's mostly 5G. N66 depends on the market. We're seeing that move. I mean, it's pretty much a wrap. The 4G shutdown is accelerating. I showed you guys a visual last year at the end of the year. I think it was December, kind of highlighting that timeline. It was a leaked image that was leaked internally, and it seems to kind of be falling into place. So, Moose, what do you think about the timing? Do you think it's too fast, too soon, too late? I mean, T-Mobile's been building a low-band 5G network for 9 years, and they've been building a 5G network for 5 years.
For T-Mobile, this is perfect timing because it allows them to solidify their contract saying, hey, we're no longer going to be activating on LTE anymore. They can put that language. They can put IoT language where it's like, hey, you need to come in with 5G capable IoT devices because we're going to be moving these off by a certain date, right? And they have in the horizon, right, that date in mind. And also keep in mind, they don't really have many places that were LTE only, right? There was some rural areas that had, LTE band 71 still, right? They need to shift that over to N71. This is definitely good because it's going to put significant pressure on Verizon once again, because Verizon is the one that needs more spectrum. Specifically, they need more spectrum to offload their LTE. Right now, Verizon's in the worst position out of this whole situation with spectrum. Why? Because in areas where they do not have band 5, what do they have for a low band carrier? They don't have anything else. That's why they're having so many drop call issues. They're having voice over NR issues because the customers that were traveling from one site to another site are not having a good experience anymore because of that low band is missing. Now, what ends up happening with AT&T is the same situation, right? Because in areas that they don't have band 5, what do they have, right? They're in the same boat. What I'm predicting is this. You're going to start seeing an acceleration of plans from both Verizon and AT&T because of this news. You're going to start seeing some skinny channels, 5x5, band 12, and 5x5, band 13, and that needs to be 3GPP approved as well. You're also going to start seeing, again, these contracts from both Verizon and AT&T saying, hey, we're no longer going to be activating just LTE devices, period. That's it. This is over. You can't activate an iPhone 8. You can't activate an iPhone 11 anymore. No more. And number 3, and more importantly, you may have the government step in and say, hey, FirstNet needs to be off of LTE only sooner than the expected date. That's something that we also got to talk about as well. So I think this is great. This news today was not shocking at all, but it was needed to push the narrative to all 5G.
Verizon has more spectrum than it ever has in its company history. Spectrum
Yeah, but
portfolio is
does that
far
mean?
greater.
Yeah, but
when you
Verizon
compare
is
with
still
T-Mobile and AT&T.
Well, I mean, I
Verizon
don't
is
think
still
Verizon's ever
spectrum
been.
deficient. B. They're still spectrum deficient.
They've
They're in
never
the worst
not been.
position compared to its competitors.
They've never not been. They've never really been the industry leader in spectrum. Never, even in the LTE days, and they still had a better network than everybody else. Like that's not a new. All I'm saying is that's not it. This isn't a new position
Right.
for
But
Verizon, according to what they've said. And as far as like as far as the overall spectrum portfolio, they have more spectrum than they ever have had. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead, Ian.
But like we've talked about before, because they have chosen to not participate in acquiring additional spectrum, I'm going to talk namely about US Cellular here, right? They chose to pass on a lot of the spectrum that US Cellular had to offer, minus the 850. They don't have a lot of tools in their tool chest to move over to NR. And a lot of their customers, just like AT&T has the same problem. A lot of customers still have LTE only devices, non-SA capable devices, non-VONAR certified devices. They're both in a very tough position right now. Verizon being in a tougher position because they don't have as many spectrum things to play with. It's a big problem.
I don't know very many companies that have like 50 megs of low band. I mean, most of the companies don't have huge troughs of low band in that particular space. So I mean, I agree with that. But
AT&T
they haven't really been a lot of. They don't have 50 megs, but I mean, they don't. There hasn't really been an auction for low band. The only thing I can say as far as US Cellular, I mean, all the companies have budgets. You can only pay for what you can pay for. And it seems to me like that's probably what Verizon did. They probably bought what they could afford at the time. That just kind of that's how the cookie crumbles, how it goes. But
right, but if we're going to talk about low band, Verizon skipped out on 600. Verizon
everybody did except for T-Mobile.
Okay,
nobody else had 600.
That's a fair point. But at the time, AT&T had their band 12. They had their 850. Then they got their generous, clean band 14 spectrum from the government. And then what did they do? They went and bought 600 from Dish. So
for $23 billion. Like so what? Verizon should have spent 24 billion to get that 600.
No, I'm not saying that they should have, but their reluctancy to participate at all is what I'm trying to get at here.
Well, I mean, they
refuse to play scrappy when it comes to spectrum, when it comes to market, whereas their competition is willing to pay for it. AT&T is willing to pay for it. T-Mobile's willing to pay for it because they know what Verizon also knows is that there's not much spectrum to go around anymore.
They just spent $52 billion on spectrum.
You know how we got proof of that, EM? Look what Dish just got for their spectrum from AT&T.
$23 billion.
Literally overpaid for everything.
Yeah.
Like that was premium price
in this market now.
But that's what they did.
No spectrum. There clearly is nothing coming down the pipeline. Clearly.
That's what they did.
Yeah.
They overpaid US Cellular for the 850 that they got.
They had to. There was no other way.
And they overpaid for C-band. And they overpaid for CBRS. Like, I mean, it's not like it doesn't seem to me like Verizon's been sitting on their hands as far as spectrum is concerned. And there hasn't been an auction for low band spectrum since the 600 was bought by T-Mobile a decade plus ago. So it's not like there hasn't been very many opportunities. There was an opportunity with US Cellular and they bought it. They bought some.
But you're not looking at the bigger picture. T-Mobile was allowed to get, in some cases, they were allowed to get 30 megahertz of their own low-band spectrum, 30 megahertz paired, with no competition, nobody to say, no, I want some of that.
They have like leasing deals with Columbia Capital. They were using Dish's spectrum for a while. They got 20 megs of their own.
Nobody wants to lease spectrum except for them.
I think they got 5 from Comcast in some markets. I mean, they've been that 71 carrier the whole way.
Yep. And I believe that by Verizon not participating in N71 or in 71, right, the 600 megahertz, that is a significant issue. because again,
Nobody participated.
they do not have a low band carrier nationwide.
They have 700.
AT&T has the ability to shift over band 12 as their 5x5 low band immediately, or they can do it through band 14, N14. They can do it that way too. Or they have a third option, deploy the 600 megahertz in areas that need it the most. Like, for example, New York City. Like, for example, in places that do not have band 5. This is a significant disadvantage from Verizon. Why? Because when you have a low band carrier, you can extend that carrier aggregation on NR, on SA. That's how you are able to have the best network management, is when you have a fundamental low band carrier nationwide. It's always going to be on every cell site, and then you add the layers on top of that.
Would you agree that they're going to have to get really dense in order to really do this?
That's very difficult to do.
That's what they did. That's what they did in LTE.
That's very difficult to do.
They've never been the industry leader in spectrum assets. They've never been. And none of you would have known it because they've always had a better network than everybody else, even despite not being the industry leader in spectrum. Spectrum is extremely important, but that's not the only way to win. So, like, it seems to me that history would suggest that they seem to know how to play in that space, and they've seemed to have done well.
I'd say so.
But, I mean, I hear what you guys are saying. Again, doom and gloom, that the sky's falling for Verizon. That's the fun thing to talk about.
No one's saying the sky is falling, but you have to at least try and see it from my point of view, Moose's point of view, because this is the one thing we actually might agree on for the first time ever. Like, Verizon has willingly chosen to put themselves in a spectrum deficient position because they didn't need it. We didn't need it.
But that's not true, though, because
It is true.
They have purchased spectrum, EM. They have done so. But the problem is they got a budget like everybody else. What you're telling them to do is overpay for spectrum again after already having paid $52 billion. That's very challenging to do.
Right.
On top of that, you have to turn around and go build it as well.
600 megahertz was not overpaid at all. There was barely any
$23 billion for what? What did you get?
That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the original auction. The original.
I'm talking about what you guys just purchased.
Are you not paying attention? They literally did not even participate in 600. Guess what? AT&T bought some in Oklahoma, and then they sold it to T-Mobile.
Nobody participated in 600 except for T-Mobile. They were the only ones who bought it on that spectrum.
That is not true.
The original auction was just them.
They're
the only ones that had it.
Sneed, who was the first companies that bought 600 megahertz in the original auction?
It was T-Mobile and Dish.
Boom. There were people.
Oh my God.
There were people.
My bad. And Dish. What the hell are we
There were people. And I bet you anything, Verizon is regretting that decision to not participate.
You know what else, Moose?
Yeah.
Verizon probably regrets letting Dish get all that AWS now.
You see?
Because AT&T.
But that's high band. That's not even what we're talking about. That's high band.
High band.
And they still have an opportunity,
brother.
They still have
2025.
They
AWS
still have
high band.
So what is it, Sneed? Is it low band? Is it low band? If it's not low band, then it's not. Well, if it's not low band, then it's not what we're talking about right now.
If it's 2025, yeah, I would say that 2100 is probably a low band. Yeah.
No, it's not. You'd be wrong because it's not. That's not low band.
How far can a 2100 frequency propagate?
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It doesn't propagate far enough to be considered low band.
That's crazy that B doesn't want to admit that 1900 megahertz or 2100 megahertz is not considered a low band when in areas that don't have band 5, that's the only way that Verizon is able to do 5G.
That doesn't make it a low band spectrum, guys. That's all I'm saying. That's not low band.
Over semantics right now.
It's not.
AWS and PCS are not low band.
Where's the low band? Yeah,
low band is sub 1 gigahertz.
Where's
it always
the low
has
band?
Been, always will be.
Where's the low band?
Sub 1 gigahertz. I just said
so where's the low band?
700.
Where is it? Where is it for sale? Where is it for auction? Where
It's
is
not. It hasn't been for sale in a decade plus.
So
That's what I was saying.
Okay, so in 2016, what was available?
600.
And AWS.
AWS
That's
is
not
not
low
sub 1
band.
gigahertz.
And then,
what
and
are
then
you talking
Dish,
about, dude?
and then Verizon bought some, and they let Dish buy 25 megahertz of it
Jesus Christ.
twice.
I don't know what I don't know.
So
what
then
you're
they
arguing
sat.
for
So then
here,
they
Sneed.
sat. Then they sat Spectrum starved until C-band, and then whatever the ploy was,
Everybody set Spectrum starved.
and then the ploy was FAA held Verizon out for the first 2 years or whatever.
We're
There's
talking
missteps.
about sub 1 here.
There's miscalculations in the Spectrum approach, and it forced them to have to deal with it through densification, which wasn't easy.
That's what happened in LTE, and it worked pretty well.
But it wasn't easy, and it was hard, and it was challenging.
Nothing is easy in telco. Nothing is easy. You can have all the spectrum in the world. You still got to go build it. Nothing is easy in
T-Mobile
telco.
went to the clearance rack and kicked ass.
Oh, define clearance rack.
600 was cheap.
8 billion.
So
yeah,
B,
pretty
600
8
was
billion,
cheap.
8 billion.
They bought 40 million customers
Because
and
nobody wanted it.
160 megahertz nationwide of N41, and then they got 2 companies worth of PCS, and they had AWS. They did all that.
There's no way around it. Verizon messed up by not spending some billions of dollars in that original 2016, 2017 600 megahertz auction. T-Mobile spent $8 billion. And guess what? They were able to literally lease the remaining spectrum, and they're now the de facto king of low band anywhere regarding 5G. That's why
The data doesn't say that. The data doesn't say that.
keep saying that
the
T-Mobile...
data doesn't say that.
The data doesn't say that. This man is insane. Listen.
No, okay. If they were the king of low band, why do they not win any state? Not one state. They've won 4 cities and 0 states. And you have the nerve to tell me that I'm insane? Because I'm saying they're not what you say they are? You got a lot of nerve, man. I mean, there's no data to substantiate what you're saying right now. The low band king? Why? Because of what? Because they got 600? Has that been good enough for them to beat their competitors in any state? Name a state they're better at. Give me one, Moose.
Hold on. Low band.
You just called me out. Give me a state.
You know what's crazy? Your city, T-Mobile took over from market share. Long time.
That has nothing. That doesn't have anything to do with network performance. We're talking about network performance right now.
Hold up. We're talking about.
They didn't win New York City.
Hold up.
Go look it up.
Performance does not necessarily equate to market share. However,
I agree, but we're talking about performance right now.
You know what's talking right now is that T-Mobile will surpass Verizon #1 position nationwide. That is
perhaps you've been saying it for a while, and maybe they will. But as of today, because I'm not speaking in hyperbole, not speaking in whatever, what we know today is that they have not won New York City. They have not won any state in this country. So you can't sit here and tell me with any definitive data that they're the king of low band because you say they are. It doesn't even begin to make sense. Based on what, Moose? Because they got a bunch of spectrum that you say makes them better than somebody else, than another company? So why aren't they winning anywhere, Moose?
So
I don't know what to tell you. I just said
I know what to tell you. I know what to tell you.
It's not. You look, if they were going to do a 5G SA test, purely 5G SA test right now, 2025, today, okay, T-Mobile would win purely on 5G SA. Why?
And I agree with you. They have more deployed than everyone else. As
not just more deployed. Not just more
deployed. Yet and still, despite what you just said being true, and I acknowledge that it is, they still don't win in any state, and they have 4 metros that they've won out of 125. So what are you talking about? How can you say they're the low? If they're the low band winner, why do they need so much satellite? Because they don't have the density, because they haven't invested in their network in that way, because they're still spending the industry least in CapEx.
And that's why, I think it's going to take some time for them to pass Verizon in terms of total subs. I think people still respect the Verizon network for the reach.
Hey, I didn't say it. Sneed
And the
said it.
reliability.
Now, if you're going to be objective, now you got to come in his throat like you just tried to come at mine, Moose.
So B, just
but we
to
can't-
touch
we
base
can't-
on one of your points that you made about Verizon and not having the most spectrum, and they had the best LTE. They were the first ones to build out an LTE network, which is exactly what's happening with T-Mobile and 5G. So if we go back in the past and see who wins, if it's the first mover, T-Mobile is going to win. Verizon might be holding out right now because of their ultra wideband, but if you look at places where they're both densified equally, I'd say T-Mobile is the better bet. And they're only densifying more and more and more.
I respect that point. I respect that point. I think that's a fair point and a fair assessment. I don't think they're going to out-densify Verizon, though, because they don't have the CapEx to be able to do that. They have not shown that they're willing to increase CapEx at all. They won't even talk about it. Meanwhile, you have Verizon and AT&T that are spending. You're right. They don't have to, because their narrative is they think they're the best now. So they're saying they don't need to spend anymore.
They say they got a 2-year lead, bro.
I mean, yeah, but that 2-year lead is dwindling every day. AT&T and Verizon are still building.
Every earnings call, they say it's 2 years. They stay in 2 years ahead.
Yeah, I mean, they say a lot of things. I mean, what does the data say? The data says 4 cities and 0 states. I'll say it again: 0 states and 4 cities.
Which report are you looking at for when you say that?
I'm looking at RootMetrics. I'm sorry, I should have quoted. I'm looking at RootMetrics.
T-Mobile has won Idaho and Rhode Island for the first half of 2025. I did pull it up just to see like where they're at.
They won Idaho?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
According to RootMetrics.
That's crazy.
Hey, that's not 0 states.
Hey man, I'm gonna look it up myself, man. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Let me go look it up myself.
That's crazy. Idaho, out of all places, never would have thought it would have been Idaho. Yeah. I would have thought it would have been like Rhode Island makes sense, right?
Oh well, okay. I'm sorry.
First half of 2025 overall performance Verizon.
So they all have
overall performance Verizon for Idaho first half of 2025.
So come on, guys. You guys are faking me out with the
okie.
Wait, so they don't have Idaho?
No, it says T-Mobile has a 94.7, Verizon is 93.8, and AT&T is 93.8 for overall.
It says a tie. So again, my statement's not wrong. They didn't win any states, and they got like 4 cities.
I mean, they still won that state.
You're right. They all tied on that one, but
it's a tie. It's a tie, not a win, guys. It's a tie, not a win, guys.
All right, so you got to say outright wins.
Well, they don't have any outright wins from what I can see. He's right.
So again, I think my point is valid enough for us to be able to at least agree. They don't have the dominance to try to assert, hey, they're the low man leader in any way, shape, or form. I don't think that's an accurate statement. I think T-Mobile knows that, and to their credit, that's why they're advertising satellite. They went out, they got a deal, they got satellite in order to make up for the fact that they know that their network is not.
They're also the most expensive carrier right now. They're more expensive than Verizon and more expensive than T-Mobile, or more expensive than AT&T.
That's fair. But what are they doing with that money? But they're certainly not putting it into the network.
That perception was always the coverage.
Charge more than the other 2 carriers. That means people are finding value with them for whatever reason, and they're switching to them.
Well, I think that's a fair point as well. But I mean, at the same time, I'm not sure that necessarily is going to be something that holds, in the foreseeable future. Yeah, right now you got all 3 carriers neck and neck as far as churn is concerned, and their growth is not necessarily the same as what the reason why they're growing where they are now. They got to give away a bunch of service in order to be able to even sustain that level of growth. It's not even real growth; it's giveaways,
empty calories.
Pretty much.
Is that not what T-Mobile's been doing with free lines and stuff?
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about T-Mobile.
Oh, okay, I thought you were talking about. Okay.
I don't believe AT&T does that. I could be wrong. I don't believe AT&T does that.
They do free phones for everybody, regardless of the plan.
So I think we've a lot of people on this panel have a misconception of it. There can be a middle ground, and some options are very close to that. You can have a carrier that's generating healthy revenue off customers, and still the customers getting what I'd consider a good deal. I have strict standards for what a good deal is because I compare everything. It depends if people choose the options that aren't as good of a deal or that are a great deal. And sometimes carriers lose money, but it's their decision. Right? I didn't go to Verizon HQ or T-Mobile HQ and point a gun at all their execs and tell them sell stuff at this price. they decided they could sustain their business doing that.
Agreed. And I think the same thing could be true in the opposite direction. I don't think the companies put a gun to the customer's head and say, "Hey, you have to get this free phone," and sign this 36-month agreement in order to get it. So I mean, it just kind of. I agree with you, Max. I mean, there's give and take. That's what a business deal is. The consumer buys or the customer buys and the business sells. So I get it. There's nothing wrong with that. That's true.
I got you, B. I think we. Okay. Go ahead.
Let's cut off the customer conversation because we totally sidetracked from what Moose's conversation wanted to be about, which was the ending of 4G and T-Mobile moving spectrum over to 5G. We got to remember that like 2 to 3 years ago, we were talking about AT&T sending out LTE phones to their 3G customers.
Oh, I remember that.
Off of 3G. That was not that long ago. That was like 3.5, 4 years ago.
But it's okay when AT&T does it, right?
No, hold on. That's not my point. That's not my point.
No, that was for Moose.
My point is that AT&T and Verizon need to giddy up.
Mm-hmm.
They need to get customers on 5G phones, whether it's subsidized or not, because they are going to continue to fall behind as they rely on LTE. Like,
do we have a report for the market share for AT&T? Because don't they have the highest percentage of like iPhones on their network compared to Verizon and T-Mobile?
But just because it's iPhones doesn't mean it's SA capable.
Right.
And I mean,
the majority of iPhone customers are not.
iPhone 12s are not SA capable. iPhone 13s are not SA capable.
Fair enough. That's a good point.
Well, and guess what, EM? T-Mobile could use this as a talking point at their next earnings conference or whatever.
I mean, I'm not saying that T-Mobile's in like some advantageous, crazy like.
Oh yeah, for sure.
My point is that this is a wake up call for Verizon and AT&T that they need to move a little bit faster.
I think there's an argument to be made that EM's point is valid too. I mean, just give the customers the phones, man. Get them a certified pre-owned phone. Get them off of the LTE stuff. That make sure that it's provisioned for, standalone and all that kind of thing, so that they're ready to go. That way, you can do what you need to do from a 5G standpoint. I think that makes perfect sense. I agree with them.
And let's not forget, AT&T is in the furthest position back here. They still do not have a commercial SA network.
They don't, but when they switch it on, they're going to be in a better place than Verizon. I don't know if they're going to be in a better place than T-Mobile.
I disagree with you there. I disagree.
What is going on out here, man? Why does everybody think? I don't understand. What are we talking about?
Hang on. Can you justify that point? Can you reason me through it?
The contrast between EM and B there, B was all screaming like, what? EM was like, I respectfully disagree. So just a little contrast there. We can learn from.
I have is that they have better spectrum. They have more spectrum, and once they actually put that spectrum to use, especially what they just bought from EchoStar and Dish, it's just going to put them that much closer to T-Mobile. While Verizon is still going to their only play is densification. If they don't densify, they're screwed.
All right, so let me ask you this, Evan, as a follow-up. Do you think the only reason why the SA hasn't moved faster has been the carriers doing, or is it the fact that not enough devices are SA compatible?
That's a good question. I'm not their typical customer. I upgrade every year, so for me, I've been ready. It's news to me. It wasn't something that I took into consideration that the older iPhones aren't SA capable. I don't know the answer to the question, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I have a very strong opinion on this. Chacha, the reason why not enough phones the reason why is because look at the examples, just recent examples. Verizon is having issues with their SA rollout. People are complaining on Reddit that their voice over NR is a problem. With the exact same,
even commercially available. What are you talking about?
No, it is commercially available. There's multiple subreddit posts on Verizon that say, hey, I have NR available, SA available, and I have voice over NR available on iPhones.
Do we know if it's is it vendor related like Ericsson, Samsung? Do we know?
No, I think it's definitely market related. It's not a nationwide rollout.
It's market by market right now. The reason why is because they are having a lot of issues. Now, why would AT&T want those issues when they know they don't have a strong enough low band position today to offer that situation, that market-wide SA experience, just like LTE. So
are
what
you
I'm thinking,
speculating that maybe they do it over 600?
I think this is what's going to happen. Two things could be true in what I'm about to say. Number one, actually, three things could happen. Number one, the band 14 N14 rollout will be accelerated. That could be happening next year. That's a possibility. That's speculation. I don't know.
It could be.
Number two,
I think they said originally the timeline was 28, Moose.
Exactly. Who knows? But I feel like that could be on the table as an option. Number two, you could have in areas that do not have band 5 have a 5x5 of band 12. You could. Then the other thing that could be also possible is you could have, depending on how the government situation goes for 2026, a one touch of adding 600 megahertz panel with the 4.9 and any other remaining spectrum. I feel there's going to be a one touch 2.0 next year.
Are we going to just not pretend that AT&T had to rip out their entire 5G core infrastructure because they bet on Microsoft and then are now paying Ericsson to rebuild it for them?
But remember what the terms were.
We're just going to pretend that that's not a thing.
But remember what the terms were.
That's the real reason why AT&T is behind it. It has nothing to do with the RAN. I'm talking about the core. AT&T is paying Ericsson to build their entire 5G core network.
They handed their entire network to Ericsson and said rebuild it.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. And that is separate from the RAN. I'm talking about the core.
Yeah.
What's your point, though?
My point is that that's the reason AT&T is behind on SA. They were having to rebuild their entire core 5G network infrastructure, the entire thing.
So building off that, aren't they getting close to finishing their Ericsson conversion? So when they're finished, wouldn't they just be able to flip the switch and turn it on?
They're not even halfway,
because,
bro.
again, the RAN is separate from the core.
Yeah. The towers are separate from the core network.
But Ericsson is doing that too, though.
I think you guys are misrepresenting how big of a lift that is, especially when Ericsson already has done it for Verizon.
What?
Ericsson has not built the 5G core for Verizon.
Yeah. There's pieces. There's pieces.
See, this is why I can't get any sleep because, you know.
sometimes, Moose, I think sometimes you're a little misinformed.
Moose, that's not true.
Oh, man.
Let's see here. Hold on.
Verizon from the get-go was very adamant about building the core themselves.
Yep.
They may bring in partners to assist with that, but there's many articles out there talking about how Verizon wanted to do it themselves.
Yep.
They didn't want to pay Cisco. They didn't want to pay Nokia like T-Mobile did. They didn't want to hand it over to Ericsson and say, "Here, do this for me," like AT&T did.
I don't blame them because if you think about it, if you let someone else do it, when it fails, it's their problem, not yours.
But then you don't. You're still.
I know, and you're not in control of your thing.
Yeah,
well, you're responsible because it's your network, but like you're basically saying, I mean, AT&T they did this based on cost. They don't do their own network the same way that Verizon does their own network.
It's expensive to give away phones to all these different plans. I mean, you got to skimp somewhere.
It's because they hedge their bets.
I think it's bigger than that. I think it's the fact that they fell behind from the get.
Yeah, and so I'm trying to figure out how they're in a better position,
bro.
The only card that Verizon has to play is densification. Where are you guys getting this from? I don't understand.
There's a case to be made that the ghost of Randall continues to haunt AT&T. When they did that DirecTV thing, when they did that satellite thing and the Warner Media thing, it really rocked their world. And if it wasn't for FirstNet, AT&T was dead.
Well, Big Stank used to be in charge of Warner Media as well. He used to do a lot of that media stuff before he became CEO.
Stanky deep down is a wireline guy.
Well, yeah, right. We all know that, obviously.
The importance of the wireless network because it's part of the core business.
Yeah.
But he still wants everybody on a fiber line.
All right, but compared to the other CEOs, this guy's like proper like unk. Like he's been at AT&T for 40 years. He's been through it all. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Unk prop. You know what I'm saying? If any of the
pizza parties, bro, shit's crazy.
If any of the telco CEOs needed a replacement, it's Big Stank. But the other two got swapped.
Is Big Stank on the Domino's board?
No, that was a
He's gotta
CEO of
be.
Best Buy.
The
Oh,
CEO
maybe.
of Best Buy was on the board of Domino's.
God damn.
So
By the way,
my original point was that both AT&T and Verizon are in an equally shitty position right now. They just have their own reasons that they're in a shitty position.
Who do you
I
think
think
poised to make a comeback?
a comeback. I mean, why are we?
I don't think it's necessarily a comeback. It's more of who's going to execute properly going forward. I think those are two very different schools of thought. But it's going to highly depend on how Verizon decides to deploy their nationwide carrier for voice over NR, and it also depends on how fast AT&T can keep converting sites over to Ericsson and get a 5G core running. The problem is that AT&T has not tested their 5G core. They don't have commercial traffic on their 5G core, as far as I'm aware. That is a huge step.
They're doing it. I think they're doing it through their Internet Air. I think all that's on SA.
If it is in some capacity, I mean, but Internet Air is very different than mobility traffic.
Sure. Oh, of course.
It's
There's no
fixed.
calling.
There's no calling. There's no 911.
There's no movement. There's no switching cells.
Right, and that is a very big hurdle.
I think they do SA on business lines.
Right, but you can
there's
be,
some.
you
There's
can be on
some.
SA but not be on the 5G core. Those are two kind of different things.
Yeah, I got you.
So that's where I'm concerned with AT&T's position, is that to my knowledge, and granted, I'm just going off of what I can read on the internet.
They operate a converged core, don't they? Just like T-Mobile.
Not really.
No. Okay.
No, because they bet all their ducats on the cloud core with Microsoft.
Yeah,
and that was separate from their 5G or their 4G core.
That went kaput like last year.
As far as I'm aware, yeah. So they're in a more concerning position because they have not had as much time to work out the kinks in that process. So
they'll be hanging on to LTE for a while.
A lot longer than I think people would like to project. Yeah. And then on top of that, they have a lot of government contractual obligations to keep LTE around.
Yeah. Yeah, those connected devices are LTE for life.
So T-Mobile's lighting fires under their asses, I'll tell you that much. This is huge.
All right, guys. Good stuff. Anything else for the good of the order? I just wanted to close out the show. It's getting a little bit late here.
This is really exciting for the customer. A lot of good competition going on right now. So I would think everybody should be happy. I hope everybody's happier than they were. Which is good. I agree with them. T-Mobile is definitely continuing to keep the pressure on in as many ways as they can. And I think this is the primary way that they're doing it, just essentially moving spectrum from 4G over to 5G. It's smart because it's better for them that way. Their 4G network sucked anyway, so you might as well decommission it. I mean, go ahead and move that stuff over to 5G. It was only going to help them. So
as well.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense for them to do that. I think Verizon's probably the closest to catching up to where T-Mobile is as far as this particular portion of the project is concerned. And we'll just see what happens going forward. But I mean, I still kind of maintain my position. I don't think the sky's falling. There's a lot of negative sentiments around Verizon. I'm not exactly sure why, but hey, we'll see what happens in the future.
And to answer to surprised OJ Simpson's face, we have not heard those reports, but so that sounds like purely speculation and conjecture. I can't say that those statements are endorsed by the SMT YouTube channel.
Man, y'all are weird, dude. That's just weird.
That's
the fact that you even typed that is really weird, but whatever.
That's crazy. But good show, guys. Thanks for calling in, Edvin. Appreciate you. Manny was in here earlier. Maximus, BEM. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Pleasure. Have a good night, Sneed.
Yeah, man. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you guys soon on the next live stream. Deuces.
Peace.